So community, the people you invest time with, actually play a huge role in influencing who you are in the world. And I think largely people are not conscious of that fact. They take a lot for granted. I know I do. I don't think about it all the time, but I know when I think about it, oh yeah, the people, that's why, like, you get to a certain point in your life where you actually choose who you hang out with. You actually choose, not by saying, oh, you're not good enough, I'm not going to be your friend anymore. It just happens that where you want to go will determine over time the people you hang out with, the people you socialize with, the people you rely on for support and encouragement, the people you seek advice from will change if you're conscious of the path you're on.
So what criteria? So I'll share this with you, and then you can reflect back what criteria that you use. So for me, I think about, yes, the average of the 5 people I spend the most time with. I also think about the network of conversations, right? What kind of conversations we tend to have topically. So that's something that I'm very conscious about and what I'm interested in. For example, what lifestyle do we all aspire to have? So if you want to work 20 hours a day until you have $1 billion business and exit and you can do it again, that's not the kind of conversation that I enjoy having. I've lived that lifestyle. It's no longer something that interests me per se, but I'm more about this soulful life of fulfillment and joy and success all at the same time. That's something that I want to engage in. So I'm curious to know, what criteria do you use as a way to consciously and intentionally cultivate these network of conversation that you want to have?
Yeah, thank you. And I love that you use the word the conversations, because Tracy and I are passionate about we really truly believe that the conversations, elevating the level of the conversations that we're having, has a positive impact in the world. I think I shared with you when we first met that our stated vision, our stated purpose is to lead enough conversation leaders. There's a lot of talk in the world about thought leadership. We want to create conversation leaders to elevate the vibrational frequency of conversations in the world so potently, so to such an extent that the artificial intelligence is actually infected by love. That's our mission. And so this idea of criteria, I would say that we naturally gravitate, I naturally gravitate toward people for whom their spiritual path is important to them. It doesn't have to be like their most important thing. It's just, when I'm talking about my spiritual journey, almost invariably, I'm going to talk about my experiences relative to that. And that's either interesting to someone or it's not. And if it's not interesting, are we really going to have that much in common? Perhaps paradoxically, I'm also fascinated by how that expresses itself in the commercial world through businesses and through speaking and training and this and that. So it's interesting to me to see how wealth and prosperity and abundance is interwoven into all of that. How it is that someone can be deeply spiritual and wildly financially abundant. That's fascinating to me. It doesn't appear to me to be hypocritical. That's true, although there are many examples where it is.
Right? Who would be an example of that? I'm curious. Who is openly spiritual and also do very well in the material world? Not to put yourself on the spot. I'm just curious. Yeah, because that's something that I think about, right? Who can I point to and say, hey, has certain celebrity or whatever, look at them as an example. Yeah.
Yeah. I know all of the people I hang out with, and Tracy and I hang out with, fit in that category. And so I don't want to name names, but I do know. So let's say if I had to pick a celebrity, someone for whom I have a great deal of respect. I've met him a few times and had conversations. His book, Ageless Body, Timeless Mind, for me, just integrated with my philosophy and knowledge of biology. Deepak Chopra is a great example. Someone who, by everything I've seen, and again, I don't hang out with him on a daily basis, but everything I've seen, he's a deeply spiritual person and he's very successful financially. And I've never really talked to anybody who hasn't had that experience. There are colleagues, people I know who that's not true. They may be wildly successful and they might proclaim spirituality, but they don't totally live that vibe. That to me is troublesome. We don't hang out. So for me, walking the walk and talking the talk is really important, even when that's hard.